Over the years, the Star Wars movies as well as the expanded universe have introduced us to a multitude of Jedi. But unfortunately, some of those Jedi, while awesome, just don't get the exposure they really deserve. With that said, I'm counting down the top 10 most underrated Jedi. Number 10. Jedi Master Dash Jenner. A survivor of Order 66, Dash Jenner was a main protagonist in the Dark Time series, or at least the first 2 volumes. He had a very interesting personality about him. Although he could sometimes be very in tune with the Force, he was also brash and was one of the few Jedi who didn't hesitate on using a gun. You could really see a character shift with him as he tries to adapt to the new Empire age. Unfortunately, this character was cut off after the 2nd volume when the series focused on other characters. It's really a shame too, because this character really did have a lot of depth to him. He has been introduced recently back into the series, and let's honestly hope he gets more exposure. Dash Jenner. A great character cut off before his time, but hopefully coming back. Number 9. Sha Kun. No, that's not a mispronunciation. I'm talking Sha Kun, not Plo Koon. Sha Kun is Plo Koon's niece, who previously appeared in the series The Stark Hyperspace War, although she really didn't get a chance to shine until the one-shot Purge, where we learn her ultimate fate. Becoming a Jedi Knight, she was an avid studier and very in tune with her telepathic abilities. Having survived the raid on the temple, Sha Kun attempted to put the Empire down by attacking Lord Vader himself. She put up a good fight but was ultimately destroyed by the Dark Lord. Her telepathic abilities made her a very unique character. When she first appeared, I honestly thought she was a really interesting character, and I did hope to see more. Although I had to wait so long to see her again, it was good to see her in action for once. Sha Kun, the niece of Plo Koon, who just never got the exposure she deserved. Number 8. Tyvako. Tyvako was a member of the Jedi High Council long before Episode 1 came out, and was a key leader in the Stark Hyperspace War series. Unfortunately, he was cut down quite early in the series, and only even got one fight scene. It was a shame too, because like many Wookiee Jedi, he really exhibited a lot of strength and a lot of knowledge. His death really should have been saved for the very end of the series. Even his last words really reflect something about how a series would end. With a curved, tilted, wooden yellow lightsaber, this is one Wookiee you do not want to piss off. Number 7 and 6, Valmont Doon and Auroran Korba. Now you may be asking yourself, who are these two? Well, these 2 Jedi were the ones who confronted Grievous during the Clone Wars 2003 series. These 2 Jedi are severely underrated because of how little exposure they got. But they were both really good characters, and they even did get some backstory further down the line. They were able to hold off Grievous for a good time, and even got some very good impressive fight scenes. Unfortunately, they weren't able to stand up against Grievous, and they really were cut down before their time. Auron even got a lot more further backstory down the line. We learned about who his apprentice was, who his master was, and even a little bit about him before the tragic attack on Coruscant. 2 Jedi who confronted Grievous, and just didn't get any exposure after that. Number 5, Wode Badal. One of the few Nitai Jedi, Wode Badal lived over 5,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, and he even continued to live long after that. His intellect and his cunning really made him a very interesting Jedi. He had a really big wave of mysterious about him. He didn't do too much, but that only made him more interesting. It's a shame that this character didn't get too much exposure, but think about this, guys. He was one of the few Jedi who actually was able to beat Exar Kun. What does that tell you about him? Unfortunately, his bondage to Ossus really cut his character down severely. He didn't come back again until the Dark Empire series. Wode Badal. Teacher, historian, underrated. Number 4, Mechag. One of the main stars of the Jedi Council Acts of War series, Mechag was a Jedi Master who served on the Jedi Council and was on the Council right before the Battle of Naboo. Mechag really had a really cool personality about him. He was very comical and was very sure of himself. He wielded 2 yellow lightsabers, which both had very unique features. He really did seem like a character who had gone through a very interesting road through his life. I really would have liked to have seen this guy explored a lot more. He had such a great personality about him, and he really did seem like a leader. Unfortunately, he was killed towards the end of the series, but he did go out in a very impressive way. Although this guy has made another appearance, he only just meets the requirements for getting on this list. Mechag. Cool Jedi Master, but just not cool enough. Number 3, I'm Gun Di. It really is a shame when a Jedi Master's name pretty much tells you his ultimate fate. I'm Gun Di was designed for one episode of the Clone Wars TV series in which he defended Ryloth. But this guy really is an awesome Jedi. He was a skilled leader, and you could really tell he cared for the people of Ryloth. I really would like to have seen this guy get exposed a lot more in future episodes, or at least show what his life was like beforehand. Not to mention, he went out in one of the best final fights in the Clone Wars series, going up by himself against a whole army of battle droids. Although he was unfortunately cut down at the end, the people of Ryloth will always remember him. I'm gonna die. Your fate may have been already written down before you made it on screen, but you sure didn't go out like a wimp. Number 2, QRon. Okay, why wasn't this guy in the movie? QRon was a Jedi Master who survived Order 66 and the Great Jedi Purge. He was a very skilled warrior and even was able to take on the Dark Jedi Jarek in the video game series Jedi Knight, following the adventures of Kal Katarn. He was unfortunately killed by Jarek, but he did live on as a Force spirit, which of course makes him awesome. QRon's backstory is very in-depth and very well written. Honestly, this guy really does deserve his own series. With a gold lightsaber and a wicked fighting style, QRon really does deserve more than he ever got. And finally, number 1, Helga Ventor. Now you have to be really a hardcore Star Wars fan to know who Helga Ventor is. He wasn't in the movies and he wasn't in any of the comic books, but he actually originated in an adventure game, Star Wars Domain of Evil. But Helga Ventor gets number 1 on this list for his amazing backstory and his amazing achievements even in that adventure game. Helga Ventor was a Jedi Knight through the Clone Wars and who desired more than anything to be a hero. His very complex and very in-depth backstory is actually quite similar to how Anakin became a Jedi Knight. His great military leadership even won him one of the highest Republic honors in history. Unfortunately though, Helga Ventor's crippling pride did lead to his downfall for a time. He did survive Order 66, but during the Great Jedi Purge, he was captured by Darth Vader and was tortured to try and reveal the locations of other Jedi. Unfortunately, Vader broke him and he revealed the location of other Jedi, which unfortunately meant those Jedi were killed. Helga was so guilty that when he escaped Vader's clutches, he escaped and went into exile and even got entangled in the dark side of the Force. Helga ultimately though was redeemed when the group of rebels came to his swamp planet and helped him see the light. Helga Ventor died on that planet, but then transcended the physical plane and lived on as a Force spirit. Helga Ventor's story really shows how Jedi don't try and become heroes on their own and accept what is given to them by the Force. His story really is a good path to redemption, and I do highly recommend anybody to check it out. Helga Ventor, one of the best Jedi ever, and most people don't even know it. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the list. If you have any underrated Jedi you like that I didn't mention, please feel free to share them in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later.